Welcome to Magicbricks Now, India's first property channel. You're watching the Urban Debate. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. A major global investor writes to Magicbricks Now, says CIDCO is driving away foreign investment. This is a fund with over $200 million to invest in real estate. The fund says after a frustrating experience while dealing with CIDCO, this institutional investor has blacklisted India as an investment destination. Magicbricks Now asks the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, is this how investors are treated in this state? And it gets murkier. Maharashtra government in a tight spot after Navi Mumbai developers allege they have proof of corruption and inefficiency in CIDCO. Authorities now left fighting allegations of being an anti-development body. Well, there are some serious charges that have been leveled against CIDCO by developers. CIDCO is a city planning organization created by the Government of Maharashtra, and they're responsible for speedy development of the city. But disturbing charges of corruption have put them in the spot. Not only just local developers, but leading investment agencies are now raising alarm. Global investment house Kuwait, a leading institutional investor, wrote to Magicbricks Now and said CIDCO is driving away foreign investments. This is an email that we received at 10:30 this morning. Nasir Al-Khalid, the Senior Vice President of the Real Estate Fund of the company, wrote to us, and I quote in this email, he said, I've personally met with the chairman of CIDCO and followed which I wrote letters to CIDCO. I've received no response. It has been a very frustrating experience. We've lost the entire amount invested in the plot of land, which exceeds $15 million. He goes on to say this experience has put all of India on our blocked list for any future investment. We faced embezzlement from local authorities and requests for bribes in return for assistance. We refuse to take part in any corrupt activities. He goes on to say we have over $100 million earmarked for Asia. I, for one, as the manager of this fund, refuse to again invest in any properties in India due to this experience. That is an email we received this morning from Nasir Al-Khalid, the Senior Vice President and the Head of Real Estate Funds at Global Investment House in Kuwait. Now, Magicbricks Now, we decided that this is not something that we are going to take quietly lying down. We got in touch with the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. This email was forwarded to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. We sent them an email at 2 o'clock this afternoon asking them for a response, asking why a government that is extending its hand to FDI, extending its hand to investors, signing MOUs at Make in India events, why this is the treatment that this government is giving to investors. I must point out the fact that in less than 3 hours, there was action taken by the Chief Minister's office. There was an email written by the Principal Secretary Praveen Pradesi, who sent this email to Bhushan Gagrani of CIDCO. He said this is very serious complaints regarding the non-transparent delays for a potential investor in CIDCO. I may request you to call a meeting of the Kuwait group, CC'd here, and resolve the issues facing them. Later this evening, at about 8 p.m., we received an official response from the state government. The state government in CIDCO have pulled out the case, and this is the case. This is the official response that they have sent us. They've said the licensee obtained a commencement certificate from the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation in 2008. They sent us a letter dated 2011 asking for an extension on the completion time. That letter has not been responded to. This is according to the official response received by the state government. It's a long response. It's a windy response. It shifts the blame from one thing to another. But the fundamental bottom of the line truth is, it says the same is yet to be complied. We have not resolved this. From 2011 to 2016, there is an investor who's been waiting for a response from CIDCO. This is the state of affairs in CIDCO. And our campaign against corruption in local government is also making an impact. Developers in Mumbai are also up in arms. It's not just what's going on It's not just what's going on across the world, it's also in Mumbai. They're up in arms against CIDCO in a response to a debate conducted by the channel last week. The Arihant Group has now made a set of documents public in a press conference, claiming that the documents provide evidence that CIDCO officers are anti-development. Serious charges being levelled by the Arihant Group range from corruption, favouritism, deliberately blocking construction and denying approvals.
We have been trying hard since last 3 years to get approvals. We have made all the payment for fire charges, scrutiny fee in lakhs to CIDCO and have all NOCs of relevant department. हमारे सारे कागज पत्र समय के ऊपर हमने एक पूरे पेश कर दिए थे.
कहीं भी जाओ साहब, आप भी जानते हैं ये ओपन चीजें हैं, हर जगह पैसे लगते हैं, गवर्नमेंट माने या ना माने. और आप जितने यहाँ पे पत्रकार भाइयों बैठो हो, आप लोग को भी ये चीज़ अच्छे से मालूम है, लेकिन कोई खुल के बोलता नहीं है. हर जगह पैसे लगते हैं और 1-2 महीने बाद आप 7-12 नया निकालो, डिले होता है, फिर से 7-12 नया मांगते हैं, हर बार का पैसा लगता है. तो यहाँ पे अफेक्टेड लोग बैठे हुए हैं.
Well, my colleague Aishwarya was at that press conference this morning. She sent us this report.
While the government keeps on talking about the ease of doing business, developers here in Navi Mumbai allege that they have been waiting for the past 3 years to get required approvals for their projects in Naina. Now, this developer, Ashok Chhajer, claims that he has been visiting CIDCO officials for the past 3 years, from 2013 till date, to get the required approval for his project, Arihant in Naina. He claims that he has submitted close to 15 plans for this one project to CIDCO officials. He says every time he visits CIDCO officials, they come up with some flaw or the other in his plan. He says that till date, government could have easily got close to 20,000 houses already made in Naina only if permissions would have been given on time. Not just he, many Navi Mumbai developers say that easily they could have built affordable housing for the citizens of Mumbai only if permissions would have been given on time. Now, this issue of delayed permissions came on the surface after a Navi Mumbai-based developer, Raj Kandhari, took his own life last Monday, citing pressure from officials in CIDCO and MMMC.
Well, CIDCO is now in the eye of the storm and facing very, very serious allegations from the developer community. We got in touch exclusively with Additional Chief Planner, Naina and CIDCO, V. Venugopal, who spoke to us, and he said that press conference only gives one side of the story. Listen in.
There are some news reports in the past that some huge number of applications have come up for approval in CIDCO, and only 29 odd have been granted permission. I would like to clarify here on this matter. The development permissions have been granted based on the DCRs which are prevailing. We have not yet prepared the DCR. We have prepared a interim development plan for 23 villages, which is about 37 square kilometers, and the plan has gone to government after carrying out suggestion objections. I would say 360-degree suggestion objections have been carried out. Now, the permissions will happen only when the responsibility is on the developers or the architects of the project to submit all the documents required. Now, if the people are expecting that we will somehow grant permission based on half-cooked documents, documentation are not correct, or documentation which appears to be having some lacunas, and we will overlook that and grant permission, we will never do it. At least I will never ask my team to do it. That is irrespective of the fact whether how much pressure comes from the various quarters of the real estate players. We are now uploading, I think in the afternoon, the entire list of 245 is getting uploaded on the web, which says when the application to come, when the application got refusals, every application formal refusals have been given.
Well, that's the response we're getting from CIDCO, and it's completely inadequate. But right now, joining me on the show, and the question we're asking this evening is simply this. If we want investors to come into this state and make investments, if you're going to sign MOUs, front of the press saying these are big investments that are coming in, how do we look after these investors once they come into the state? Are we actually anti-development on the ground? Has the sentiment of the Chief Minister to build affordable homes, to be pro-development. Has that sentiment trickled down to the ground? Is there a mismatch right now between what's happening at the top and what's happening on the ground? Shaina NC National Spokesperson of the BJP joins me on the show right now. Ajay Midha Director at Private Ltd. He's the one managing that deal right now with the Kuwaiti investment firm that we talked about. Prakash Baviskar is the President of MCHI, Navi Mumbai. Mohammed Israil Shaikh Director of Unimax. Ashok Chhajer, he's the CMD of Arihant Superstructures, who held that press conference this morning. I want to thank all of you for joining me on the show. The question is simply this: are we anti-development? Ashok Chhajer, are we anti-development? What has your experience been with CIDCO? What has your experience been after you signed an MOU? And I know you signed an MOU at the Make in India campaign that happened in Mumbai not long ago. What happens after the MOU is signed?
The same response what the higher-ups from the Chief Minister's office is taking place is not percolating down to the level of town planning officers, and they keep, as you have seen Mr. Venugopal speaking about also, they keep rounds and rounds and rounds of them making people not to comply with all at one time. So it is basically that at the lower end.
Are you saying that there is a deliberate delay of work?
Yes, there is a deliberate delay, and the delay is that because Mr. Venugopal and they are not corrupt, they do not take bribes, that to prove themselves that they are right, to prove themselves that they are very right in understanding the DCRs and rules and regulations. For them to prove them right, they do up these all delays, and due to which the dream of affordable housing, which could have been provided by this MOU project, which was 3 years ago
What is your evidence?
Stopped.
You held a press conference this morning, Ashok Chhajer, you held a press conference this morning saying that you have evidence against CIDCO. What is the evidence that you have?
We have brought up evidences which showed up that the claim which the Venugopal has been telling that we do only as per DCR and not without the DCR. There is an evidence on the website with all building permission numbers stating that they have granted permission for land which was at agricultural stage. No DCR allows to grant an permission of building permission at an agricultural state till the compliances is completed. Right now he told that till the papers are in place, he is not going to grant any permission. Then the question is, why did he grant this partial permission?
Are you saying this is favoritism then?
This is favoritism.
What is the motive you think behind this favoritism? Why would CIDCO do this?
It really needs to be investigated. From the fraternity side, from the developer side, from the association side and all our side, we personally feel that it is for us to cut down in short and size and to cut down our profits, to succumb us that our profits are all blown down. And that is why even in the building permission at CIDCO, other than NANA also, people are not getting occupancy certificates. People are not getting completion certificates. I don't have a case in development in the CIDCO building permission, but it is being learnt across, and my fellow brothers have been continuously telling that from the last 3 years, the CCs and OCs have gone to a very slow space.
All right. Mohammed Israil Shaikh, in the press conference this morning, you said, and we played that bite out, you said that everybody knows that you have to pay money every step of the way.
Yeah.
Does that have to do with CIDCO? Does that have to do with the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation? Be very specific. Be very specific about what you're saying. Don't say anything, don't say anything like rounded and loose. Be very specific about what you're saying when you say you have to pay money every step of the way.
Since I have a project in Nana area, I have a project in outskirts of Navi Mumbai. At every stage, whether we are taking a small paper of Satbara, whether we are taking any order, we have to pay money. For everywhere, we have to pay. It's
to
like,
whom? Who are you paying money to?
Government service. Government servant. We need to pay that money. That is for sure.
Is this municipal corporation? Is this CIDCO?
Since I don't have any work in the municipal corporation, I have never interacted with them.
So this is CIDCO?
I'm talking about the outside of Naina, in Naina area.
Okay. So who do you have to pay money to?
See, all the tables. See, you will not get any document without paying any money. I'm telling you that this is the fact. You can ask anyone we are sitting over here, ask any developer whether they take name or not. But try to get any paper from land, whether you say new NA order, whether you say 7/12, whether you say 8A, whatever the document you want, you need to pay money. If you are not paying money, your work will delay. Since we have invested a lot of money, we think that we have to move the work. See, we don't want to give money, or we don't want to make others criminal, or we wanted to become criminal, but huge stake of investment is involved, so we wanted to speed up the work. This is how we are going to be making housing for all. But at the same time, if the sanction is getting delayed, all that delay charges we eventually pass on to the customer. Because of that, customers is not buying the property nowadays.
So you are saying that this is corruption at the local level within the Naina region, within CIDCO.
Yes.
That is your accusation right now.
Yes.
Prakash Baviskar ji, aap bataiye, what has your experience been right now inside CIDCO, while working with CIDCO, while working in the Naina region?
सबसे पहले तो कुछ चीज़ें MMR एरिया की मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा।
जी बताइए।
सबसे पहले ये MMRDA का मैं मैप दिखाना चाहूँगा। इस मैप का अगर स्टडी किया जाए तो प्रॉपरली आपको ये दिखाई देगा कि यहाँ पर येलो जोन जो है वो रेसिडेंशियल जोन है। उस येलो जोन के अंदर आप U1 U2 में आप वहाँ पे अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग या कोई भी हाउसिंग का निर्माण कर सकते हैं। तो इसका अगर परसेंटेज का मैं आपको शॉर्ट में अगर बताना चाहूँगा तो सबसे पहले ये रेसिडेंशियल एरिया ओनली 23% ये पूरे MMR एरिया में दिखाया गया है। और इस MMR एरिया की जो एरिया है वो 4,355 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है। MMR के इस एरिया की पॉपुलेशन 1991 के मुताबिक 1,35,15,650 है। आज के तारीख में ये पॉपुलेशन इसके डबल हो चुकी है। इसके डबल होने के बावजूद इस MMR के अंदर मुंबई सिटी, मुंबई सबम सिटी, ठाणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट, रायगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट का कुछ पार्ट, ऐसे 14 तहसील इसके अंदर आते हैं। और इसमें अगर ये हमारी लोक संख्या इसके डबल हो चुकी है और हमारा MMR का प्लान की जो टाइम लिमिट है वो टाइम लिमिट 2011 में ख़त्म हो चुकी है। आज 2016 आ चुका है और 2016 के मुताबिक यहाँ की जो पॉपुलेशन है वो डबल हो चुकी है। वो हिसाब से यहाँ का रेसिडेंशियल एरिया
आप मुझे बताइए प्रकाश जी, जब आप सिडको के साथ काम करते हैं, जब आप परमिशंस लेते हैं नैना रीजन के लिए, तो आपकी एक्सपीरियंस क्या है?
तो वही मैं बता रहा हूँ। तो इसके आगे नैना के अंदर जो प्लानिंग किया जा रहा है उस प्लानिंग के बारे में अगर हम आपको बताएं तो उस प्लानिंग के अंदर ये नैना का प्लान है। उस नैना के प्लान के अंदर ये इतना बड़ा करीबन 561 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर का ये एरिया है। उस एरिया मतलब 270 गांव इसके अंदर आते हैं। इसका प्लानिंग महाराष्ट्र रीजनल टाउन प्लानिंग एक्ट के सेक्शन 28 के तहत इनको विदिन 3 इयर्स इसका पूरा ड्राफ्ट गवर्नमेंट को सबमिट करना इनको कंपल्शन था।
जो नहीं हुई।
इन्होंने इसका सिर्फ 20% हिस्सा जो 23 विलेजेस है उसका ही ड्राफ्ट ये लोग बना पाए। और 23 विलेजेस का ड्राफ्ट जो बन पाया है उसका अगर मैं कुछ थोड़ा सा चीज आपको दिखाऊं तो कोई भी रेसिडेंशियल एरिया में इन्होंने बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर।
प्रकाश जी एक मिनट। Shaina NC has joined us on the show right now. Shaina, it seems like, and the last time you were on the show, and I appreciate the fact that you come back and you have these conversations with us. The last time you were on the show, you said that we should have evidence. You said that we should not discourage and demoralize honest officers. There's evidence right now. These are the allegations: corruption, deliberately blocking development, discouraging investment, and slow work. Now, I want to bring your attention to this one particular piece that we have to focus on. This is a letter, and I'll read this out to you one more time. Nasir Al Khalid, he is the Senior Vice President, Head of Real Estate Fund's Global Investment House in Kuwait. He wrote to us saying they had invested $15 million in the Naina region with CIDCO. He said he personally met with the chairman, but he said CIDCO's lack of cooperation and responsiveness made it seem like they were unable to satisfy investors' due diligence. And I'm quoting from the letter, Shaina, here. He says, we faced embezzlement from local authorities, requests for bribes in return for assistance. We have refused to take part in any corrupt activities. and we have $100 million earmarked for Asia, but as manager of this fund, I refuse to invest in India again. I refuse to invest in India again, Shaina. This is the response that we need to take into cognizance. And I will point out that we have received a response from CIDCO and from the Chief Minister's office on this matter. But I think that as a country that's looking at FDI as seriously as we are, we can't afford instances like this. What is the government's response, Shaina?
Faye, at the outset, let me say it's quite ironical that you have two people on your panel. One who chose to have a press conference today and said that Mr. Venugopal is so honest and so upright, and that's why we don't get permissions. And then you have another who says that there's so much corruption and that's why we don't get our permissions. Now, I think there is some kind of collaboration that everyone needs to do. What have we tried to do at CIDCO? We have tried absolute transparency ever since we came into power. Our Chief Minister has put everything on a portal, and do understand, yes, I concede there are cases which are pending since 2010, 2011, but our government has done sweeping reforms by bringing in this transparency. All these plans have been uploaded on with permissions where they are given online, and where building permissions and other critical departments which were really not a part of this whole gamut are all part of the system. Now, you talking about past cases, I do concede they need to be dealt with suitably. But at the same time, do understand one factual reality, which is that to approve cases speedily which violate norms is not the norm. The idea is you only approve sanctions and give permissions to what is legitimate, and this is set by the
Shaina, I understand what you're saying, Shaina.
of 2005 by the MMR DCR.
And offices in all of the Maharashtra are
Now
not
coming
doing
to the
plans
specific case.
as per norms. Is it only the NENA office which is doing only as per norms? There are approvals being granted in Alibag Collector Raigad today. There are approvals being granted at all the town planning offices across Maharashtra, and well in good adequate time wherever the peoples are there. I think why is it that only NENA is unable to deliver approvals?
Okay, there's a special kind of slow, but Shaina, I want to first acknowledge the email that we've received from the foreign investor.
I just want to get into 1 minute.
Let's acknowledge, Shaina. Let's deal with this case first. This is the foreign investor.
Please allow me to comment.
I want to deal with the foreign investor first, Shaina. Before, we have the three people in the studio.
No, but let me please. No, I have to reply.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, this kind of every developer that gets permission, that department turns into the best department because they want X, Y, Z. Whether they're within the parameters of law or not is another question. So then the system becomes absolutely perfect.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair.
About
today,
all kinds of various
no officer gets any permission out of law.
I think
let's be honest, Shaina. One second.
Out of law.
1 second.
How much are you going to constantly just bash honest officers?
No, Shaina, let's be honest about this.
One second. Of honest officers, right?
Let's be honest about the fact that there are no press conferences.
I think we need to give it to them as well.
The government can really push forward things across. We know that government is pushing it, but it is at the lower end, things are not happening.
Ashokji, 1 minute.
Please do not advocate it.
Shaina, let's point out the fact that there is no press conference being held about, let's say, the BMC for right now. There's no press conference. There are no foreign investors writing to us about the BMC saying that they no longer want to have anything to do with India because of the experience that they've had. There is a specific problem here in CIDCO. Like you pointed out last time, Mr. Bhushan Gagrani has been moved to CIDCO 2 weeks ago. He was someone who was handpicked by the Chief Minister to look after this problem because there is a problem. I think we have to accept that there is a problem to begin with. In comparison to other areas that are being managed by other municipal corporations.
1 moment.
Let's
Please allow
accept
me
that
to
the
speak
CIDCO
now.
has a problem.
I concede. Let's start with the assumption that there is a problem. But what is that problem also needs to be addressed. Now, NINA is the only organization that puts every building plan and proposal on the website. Now, is this not total transparency? The question is that today, I don't about the Mumbai Metropolitan DCR, whether it applies or doesn't.
We have extracted the data.
Sir, I didn't interrupt you, so either you have the decency to listen to someone else.
Let her finish. I'll give you a chance to
You
rebut.
clearly have an agenda.
Let her finish. I'll give you a chance to rebut. Shaina, go ahead. You said they're putting it up on the website. That indicates transparency. Go ahead.
I don't want to have this kind of a debate where you don't have the decency to listen to someone. You clearly have an agenda which is apparent. I don't want to go into that. I want to speak on behalf of my government, my chief minister and the department which is headed by Bhushan Gagrani, Radhaji and Venugopalji. Now you may have your own personal agenda there, but let's keep that aside for a minute. I concede there are problems, but what are these problems? Okay. We need to understand that this whole system to be brought under the purview of the changes which the department is working towards does take some time. You have approvals which have been set aside, you have new rules which have been put to place, and there is a time delay which I concede. But that does not mean that, you know, there is no MRTP Act or the time taken is not as per the defined timelines and the time limits. So I think we need to understand demoralizing of officers is not the solution. Every time you character assassinate an officer with impeccable character and say that they don't take decisions, but what are they there for? They are to adhere to the law, and if that law is not conducive to you, let's work towards changing some of them. But you cannot, on the contrary, constantly ply this kind of system to suggest that what is your government doing, and look at a big investor who's moving out. Okay. If that investor in his letter writes that he was uncomfortable since 2006,
we heard out your rebut.
When we were not even in power.
Okay.
One moment. How many times did it change hands? How many times did it change hands? Was it user A? Was it user B? Was it user C? What were the compliances? All of that needs to be also investigated upon. And we are not here saying, putting our hands up and saying that, oh, if you want to go, go. We are in fact saying we will work towards making sure that
can we now talk about the foreign investor? Shaina, can we now talk about the foreign investor? I want to address this email. And in this email, let's point out the fact that this is an investor who's written to us from overseas. So there's no vested interest here. There's no political alliance here. He's actually said on his email, we faced embezzlement from local authorities. We were requested for bribes in return for assistance, which we refused to take any part of corrupt activities. Ajay Midha, who is an independent consultant working with this investor, joins us on the show right now. Ajay, tell us what the investor has said, what the experience has been, because Shaina's right. If we concede that CIDCO has a problem, we have to now arrive at what that problem is. Is the problem corruption? Is the problem lack of action? Is the problem the fact that these officers are just not taking decisions, or they're rejecting everything? Tell us what the experience has been. Let's try and find the problem so we can find the solution. Ajay.
Yeah, we've been, yeah. Look, the whole thing started in 2010 when we took up the mandate of PVP Star Hotels, and we went and personally met the managing director at that point in time. I think it was Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, and we met him, and Nasir had come down from Kuwait. We explained the story. We said, look, this is what it is. We bought the land in 2006, 2007 for about 82 crores of rupees, and after that it has been a continuous process where we've been trying to get information out of them, but they have not given any information. All what they were seeking was to get a co-investor in so that they could get a co-investor to complete the project. Now, the co-investor who is going to come in is going to ask a few questions as to, first of all, are there any penalties because we have overshot the limit? Can we get any time extensions to complete this project? Well, the answer to each and everything was no. The letters, umpteen amount of letters have been written by them. Myself, from my agency personally, from Ray White, I mean, we have not heard anything from them. And it's just that we find a co-investor, the co-investor asks us questions for a simple thing. Now, there's 7 years which have gone by in a 60-year lease period. What are your renewal terms? A hotel project is a high gestation period project. If you invest $200 million dollars into making a hotel, it's going to break even in 15-20 years. And then after that, what happens to the lease? What are the terms? How would we renew the lease? No one has the answer to that. After 60 years, what are the charges? What are the costs? No one wants to tell. What are my penalties till this date? It's a particular case. We have written so many letters directly to the managing director. What are the penalties? We have not asked them to reduce the penalties, mind you, but we've said, give us a figure. But no one wants to give us a figure. I mean, it was just, they've been sort of, going round and round. Ye piche kuch gira hai piche. They've been going round and round, and things have not been the way.
I want to bring this to our audience's attention. We forwarded the email that we received from the global investor to the Chief Minister's office. Mr. Praveen Pardesi responded in 3 hours flat. He forwarded that letter to Mr. Bhushan Gagrani. He said this is a very serious complaint regarding a non-transparent and delays facing potential investors in CIDCO. Please look into it, resolve the issues faced by them. In a couple of hours at 8 p.m., we received a letter from the OSD to CIDCO. This is D.R. Hatalkar, who wrote and sent us the entire case history of this particular case as it is. It says that the plot of land was sold in 2007. There was a 5-year deal that had to be done, which meant that this land had to be developed in 5 years. The final certificate to commence construction from the Navi Mumbai Corporation was received in 2008. CIDCO was approached for an extension of timeline completion, but then it goes on to say that with regard to a request of the law officer directed to prepare the case in opinion with so-and-so, who is a retired justice of the High Court, to issue the validity of transfer of the holding company to the 100% subsidiary, the same is yet to be complied. So what this effectively leaves us with is a request that was made in 2011 that has not been responded to yet. After which, as Ajay was telling us, repeated emails that have gone to CIDCO, repeated letters, and I have copies of them. They've been received by CIDCO, they've been stamped as received by CIDCO, have received no responses whatsoever. So on some level, Shaina, I think in this particular case, the problem is the lack of response. The problem is at some level, somebody needs to come forward and say, let's work together, let's respond to these investors, let's make them comfortable. It's not a question of relaxing the rules, it's not a question of making anybody, sort of loosening the system for anybody, but just responses. That's not a lot to ask.
I completely concede, and I take this in good spirit, but please look back in time. I mean, they chose to come in 2006. Then they cited an example of global kind of slowdown and financial crisis, then reopened the chapter in 2010. We have come into power just 2 years ago in 2014, and now it is 2016. So I think there is a long track record, and also somewhere along the line, organizations which are large like this, where they collaterally, use the other companies as well. That is, an A is to B, B is to C, C is to D. Who is the actual user and who is taking the permission at whose behest? I think that the point of penalty is well taken in spirit, and I'm sure that we will be able to arrive at some kind of a conclusive decision to see how we can sort out this problem. But every time a permission is not granted, the reasons cited by a developer are different from that cited by the authority. If it is not in compliance, or if the parameters are not met with, clearly you cannot be questioning the integrity of the officer.
I agree.
So I think that, this standard kind of saying that, oh, we didn't get our plans passed because we were refusing to pay money, is hardly hardly the way to get out of a situation
All
such
right.
as this. And I'm sure that in the days to come, Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, Radhaji, and of course Venugopal ji, in collusion with the Chief Minister, because this letter has come to you from Mr. Pardesi, I think will give you a befitting answer. What were the problems and what is this so-called allegation of corruption? Because obviously it isn't vis-a-vis our government. If it was the previous government, they need to answer.
Well, Shaina, the truth is that it's not vis-a-vis your government. If it has come in, and this is something that I will forward to you personally and to, of course, Mr. Nitin Karir, who CC'd on this email, and Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, I will forward all of this communication to everybody. Even if the government changed in 2014, the officers of CIDCO have remained the same. They have not changed, other than Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, I agree, who's come in the last 2 weeks. So maybe there is a deeper look that needs to be done about the sentiment on the ground at CIDCO of if there is a case, if there is a reason why something is being rejected, there should be more done to make or to help that developer comply. I want to ask Prakash Baviskar. Prakash Baviskar ji, respond to this. The fact that we're looking at the CIDCO website, and this is after we had a conversation today with V. Venugopal. There's a list of approvals that have been put up on the CIDCO website today. 28 out of 250 projects have received commencement certificates. Out of 30 projects were handed over to the MSRDC. The rest of the permissions have been refused. The reason cited on the website, and I'm reading this off the CIDCO website, is lack of compliance. Prakash Baviskar ji, tell me this. Why is this the case? Why are you telling me that over 200 permissions being submitted by developers in Navi Mumbai don't comply? Why are you submitting proposals that don't comply?
शैना जी, इसमें मैं एक आपको क्लियर करना चाहूँगा कि 10 जनवरी 2013 को नैना की फॉर्मेशन हुई. उसके बाद पहला परमिशन जो दिया गया ना, वो एक साल 6 महीने के बाद पहला परमिशन दिया गया. 15 जुलाई 2015 को पहला परमिशन दिया गया. क्यों? इसके पहले जो लोगों ने सबमिशन किया था, 1.5 साल ऐसे ही लोग थे कि जिन्होंने कोई भी रूल का कंप्लाई नहीं किया था. कि क्या प्रॉब्लम था, कि मैं ये चाहूँगा कि क्या इनका सेटअप रेडी नहीं था. क्या सिडको को हमने डिमांड किया था कि एयरपोर्ट के 20 किलोमीटर के दायरे में इस प्लानिंग अथॉरिटी को अपॉइंट किया जाए, क्योंकि ये लोग एक्सपीरियंस है. लेकिन मुझे लगता है इसके पहले जो एक्सपीरियंस प्लानर थे वो रिटायर हो चुके हैं. वो सिडको का एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, प्लानर को एक्सपीरियंस था. मैं ऐसा चाहता हूं कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र के एक्सपर्ट लोग जिनको शहर बनाने का प्लानिंग का एक्सपीरियंस है, उसको इसमें ना डेपुटेशन से लाया गया, ना उनको कुछ काम दिया गया. जिन्होंने काम किया है, जो प्राइवेट एजेंसी को अपॉइंट किया गया, मुझे नहीं लगता कि उनको शहर बनाने का कोई एक्सपीरियंस था. अगर मैं प्लान और एक बार दिखाना चाहूँगा कि रेसिडेंशियल एरिया को जो बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, गटर होता है, रास्ता होता है, लाइट होती है और पानी होती है और सीवरेज सिस्टम होती है, ये छोटे बच्चे को भी मालूम पड़ सकता है. लेकिन ये पूरे प्लान के अंदर कहीं भी ये आपको प्रोविजन नहीं मिलेगा. अगर बिल्डरों का बात बाजू में रखा जाए, अगर कॉमन मैन वहाँ पे अगर प्लान अप्रूवल्स के लिए जाता है, तो वहाँ की गवर्नमेंट की जो लैंड कॉस्ट है वो 30 लाख to 50 लाख to 1 करोड़ मैक्सिमम गवर्नमेंट की वैल्यूएशन है. और गवर्नमेंट की वैल्यूएशन इतनी छोटी होने के बावजूद उसके 5 to 6 टाइम्स 2 करोड़ 81 लाख पर हेक्टर उसको प्लान पास करने के लिए भरना पड़ेगा. ये तो कोई डेवलपमेंट चार्ज इतना लेने का मायना ही नहीं रखता जब आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं दे रहे, कुछ नहीं दे रहे. आज 55 से 60 करोड़ रुपए हम लोग वसूल कर चुके हैं. 3 साल जा चुका है. 270 गांवों में क्या एक गांव में एक परमिशन भी नहीं मिल सकती रूल के मुताबिक? सब लोगों ने, और लाइसेंस आर्किटेक्ट के थ्रू हमने सबमिशन किया हुआ है. क्या उनको बिल्कुल अकल नहीं है कि वो लोग एज पर रूल वहाँ पे सबमिशन कर सके? सबके सब ऐसे ही थे और एक ही आदमी को मालूम है कि ये एज पर रूल है, बाकी सबको कुछ नहीं मालूम. क्यों? इसके पहले रायगढ़ टाउन प्लानिंग डिपार्टमेंट में ये अप्रूवल्स होते थे, हर वीक में 30 to 40 अप्रूवल्स होते थे.
All valid points. Shaina NC. One second. I want let's give her an opportunity to respond to this, and then we will continue the conversation. Shaina, all valid points being made by Mr. Prakash Baviskar. Please respond.
Okay. From what I have been given, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the kind of data that has been procured to me by the Chief Minister's office, which says the total cases inverted are 251, out of which 47 cases now have been transferred to the MSRDC. Out of the 47 cases, 7 cases the permission has been granted. Out of the remaining 204 cases of Naina area, 22 cases have been granted permission, and the remaining 178 are given formal refusal. So it's not as if they have not given clarity. 4 files have been inverted in the last few days, which are under scrutiny. Now, I want to ask the builders here, because they probably have more expertise than people like us. If 200 cases in Naina, after handing down 47 to MSRDC and 22 are cleared and 178 are given formal refusal with reasons, and there is no case of no cases where it is a confusion, because the higher FSI scheme will get formal approval only after the government decides and takes a decision this month, because we all know that the current FSI of 0.2 and later being 1.7. So it's time that people also accept that this clearance has to be done by the government for speedy approvals, and to violate norms prescribed by the National Building Code of 2005, I think is an area of contention which we all need to be debating on. So do understand there are systematic flaws, but it's not as if we are not working in that direction. And at the same juncture, if there is a certain refusal based on the current scenario, you cannot hold the official responsible or CIDCO responsible. This is constantly the ease of doing business, but not the ease of doing bad business, where you want relaxation in fire space.
Ashok Chhajer, why are you asking for relaxation of fire and
open
parking?
Spaces, relaxation in lifts?
Fair enough. Shaina, let's get that response.
It is not the prerogative of the builder, it's the prerogative of the policy.
Let's get that response. Ashok Chhajer, over 200 applications that have gone in have been rejected. If CIDCO has given you reasons for rejection, why are there so many applications, inadequate applications over the last 3 years that have gone in over and over again? Is it true that you're asking for the business to be eased up? Are the rules, are you asking for the rules to be eased up? What is wrong? Why can't you get that permission? If there are papers and documents that are required, and this is what we're hearing on the CIDCO website, that there weren't enough documents, that you did not comply, which is why these permissions were not given. What is wrong? Why can't you provide those documents?
Shaina ji, first I will acknowledge that the government is very good. It is not about the BJP government who is in the power. It's not the allegation on the government that they are not doing. That we have to separate it out, that the permission which is being granted by the local authorities are not in tune with the agenda of the government, that is the housing for all. The dreams of the Government of Maharashtra and the Prime Minister that housing for all needs to be happen by 2022 will not happen if the approvals are not given in time. Now coming back to your question.
How do you expect the CIDCO to give you approvals if according to CIDCO your application was inadequate?
First I would like to put in some light on it, that there is a procedure of accepting a proposal by CIDCO, NENA office and CIDCO. That is that they have a checklist of papers, and if that all papers are not in proper order, if they are not having any validity, the proposals are not accepted at the desk officer. That means it is not inverted also. Now, if the officers sit on the proposals for years and years, all the validity of NOCs are for a period of time of 1 year and etc. Hence, that is why what they are telling that the papers are not in order. The papers are always in order. If the papers are not in order, they do not take any proposal. If they really accept a proposal, I will make it sure that I will call all our builder developers to submit up all the proposals. They will find that there are more than 10,000 proposals over there. So all the proposals which have been submitted were in proper order with all validity documents. If the officers do not work on it, the validity goes off, and then they tell that it is not in proper order. So please do not ask, please do not misguide. We are technically very much right. I myself as an individual and my office knows the DCRs very well in order. If we talk about DCRs, there is a checklist in the DCR about taking up papers, documents, what is to be required by while approving. Then why is the NENA office asking for an undertaking by a developer saying that they have to pay the development charges, but they will never claim for the infrastructure for which the charges are being paid? This is bad in law, Shaina ji. This is the hypocrisy which is happening up at the end of the NENA officers in the NENA office, where they tell something and they act something. They misguide people.
All right. Shaina NC, I want you to realize that when developers come forward and have a press conference of this matter, it takes a certain amount of courage as well to come forward against a local government body that holds a lot of the permissions that make their businesses tick. So that's one thing. The other thing is that if we are getting so many complaints about CIDCO specifically from across the country, from people of different aspects, so we have investors, we have consultants, we have developers. This is not happening, like I said, with any of the other bodies. It's not happening with BMC. It's not happening with the Thane Municipal Corporation. It's CIDCO in specific. There has to be a larger investigation that needs to happen, where if there are things that, if there are building plans that are getting rejected over and over again, if 90% of the building plans have been rejected over the last 3 years, something is fundamentally wrong. It has not happened in the BMC. It has not happened in Thane. It hasn't happened anywhere else. What's happening with CIDCO? Why is there a problem specifically only with this one government body?
I think for 2-3 reasons from what I understand. One, that the FSI is to be increased from 0.2 to 1.7. So clearly there is going to be a big bonanza for all the builders that are eagerly awaiting. And I think that is going to happen in due course of not even 1 month, maybe in less than a month. I feel the first systemic change that NINA and CIDCO have made, which is this transparent website, which needs to be applauded, because nowhere in the country do you have
that. Shaina, I've already uploaded the website. I've already read off the website. I want to understand. No, Shaina, you're dodging my question. Let's just stay on point.
I think the problem is, yes. Yes.
If we focus on, since you brought up the FSI, let's talk about the FSI. There's the DCR. The DCR has been delayed for a very long time. I know that it's currently at the Chief Minister's office waiting for a signature for a very long time.
Yes.
But DCR or no DCR, even without the DCR, the rules that currently apply to the Mumbai metropolitan region also apply to CIDCO in the NANA region. But as long as the DCR has not passed, so it should just apply. Still then we should be able to effectively compare NANA with the rest of Mumbai if we're following the same rules, with the rest of areas like Alibag that follow the same rules. Why is there a problem here that there isn't anywhere else? What is the problem with this one body? We need to address that problem. We need to address the fact that there is still a letter that has come in from a foreign investor specifically naming CIDCO. There is a problem there. There is a larger problem there, and we have to figure out what that is. While I applaud the website and I applaud the fact that this is a government body that has sent out, responses saying these are the reasons why your proposal has been rejected. The number of rejections tell us something. Shaina NC.
I want to say 2-3 things, and I want to say it very clearly. One is, is there a need for change? Yes, clearly, which I think by the month end you will have on various policies, be it FSI, be it the development plan, etc. That is one aspect. Second, I think that there is a lot of contention as to why there are pending cases and why there are cases which have been rejected. Now clearly, if a case doesn't fit within the parameters of law, and especially this letter that you have talked about, from what I gather and the information I've got, is that they wanted to build a kind of a hotel over there. That hotel, they got other local partners. That local partner changed on multiple occasions. There was a delay in the project. So it's not really all correct to just put your hands up.
No. Shaina, I've researched the case extensively before I brought it up. Ajay Midha is on the show as well. And the partner did not change multiple times. PVP Star is 100% subsidiary of PVP Ventures. That was the only change that was made. They started off with Ventures, they moved to Star. It was the same company, 100% subsidiary of the same company. Ajay Midha responds to the fact that there were multiple changes of partners, and there was a lot of changes that happened in this case. You've been following the case. You manage it personally. Tell us what happened.
Now, Yes, no. There are no multiple changes. But I mean, I've been listening to the entire conversation. If someone's going to put in 80 crores of rupees and they're with the intention of building, what is our duty? Our duty, our moral duty, is to assist them further to sort of even if let's say 2008, 2009, and the global crisis happened, and he's written very clearly that the global crisis happened, but the entity never changed. Now, doesn't it lie? I mean, the onus is ours that we should be able to assist them, to facilitate them to complete the project. At any given point of time, he has not said that he wants to get out. He has said that I'm looking for co-investors. Give me help. Let me find a co-investor who's going to invest with me and give me all the figures. But we keep sitting on it for 2 years, and we have not even replied to any letters which they have sent, and has resulted into this. I mean, if you read the 2011, he's been asking extension of time. Today we are in 2016.
No response. And Shaina NC, we're not asking for a relaxation of your... There's just a lack of response. And I'm reading out of... This is the official response, Ajay, that we've received from the state government. Now, it says that the 5-year deadline for this company to have built this hotel began when the MOU was signed with CIDCO. The permissions have to be got from the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation, which came a year later. Now, the company got back to CIDCO saying, we received our permissions later, please extend our deadline. This happened in 2011. No response. And this is an acknowledged fact by the state government. No response was received to that appeal for an extension on the deadline. So, Shaina, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that if anybody is coming up here to invest the kind of money we're talking about, 80 lakh rupees, 80 crore rupees, 100 crore rupees, these are not people who are looking to just park their money in a piece of land and not do anything about it for 6-7 years. There's an intention here to build. There is an intention here for development. Can't we, and this is my request to you, on one hand, I do think that the state government needs to look at CIDCO very closely.
Absolutely.
But can't we, Shaina, can't we have a deadline?
This is not a full stop at our end.
Shaina, I just want to ask you this before we run out of time. One last request from me. I believe that there needs to be a target for the people on the ground in CIDCO saying, hey, you know what, there's revenue on one hand, but you have to result in, within the accepted norms, within the DCR, within all of the rules, you have to show this much development on the ground. If we want to see 1 lakh affordable homes, there has to be a deadline of how fast this happens, which will cause these officers to sit across the table with developers and say, hey, let's fix your problem. If your application is inadequate, let's sit down together and make it adequate. Let's find the problem, let's fix it. Because the intention is there. Can we set that sort of a target for our officers?
Absolutely. In fact, I would request through your forum to this consultant who is present here, Ajay ji, if I'm correct, I would request him to please immediately meet with our CIDCO chief, Mr. Bhushan Gagrani. He is probably the most dynamic, proactive, positive officer you would have ever dealt with. And I'm sure that in the days to come, our Chief Minister will also intervene. I would highlight that, Faye, maybe it would make sense for you to read the response that you've been given by the government, where Mr. Praveen Pardeshi wrote to you within 3 hours of this particular question, and highlight the proactiveness coming from the government as well. Eventually, we want development. We want to show that, yes, we have been able to create these model townships, which are the talk of not just Maharashtra, but all across the country. So it is in our interest not to be in a deadlock situation or to be in a rebellion mode where one is fighting against the other.
At the beginning of the show, we accepted the fact that the intention of the state government, for development needs to trickle down to the officers on the ground, and I think that's where the mix-up is. I acknowledge, and I did repeatedly on the show, acknowledge the fact that the Chief Minister's office responded to us in less than 3 hours. CIDCO, with its response, responded to us in less than 4 hours. I will accept that. I accepted it in the beginning and twice in the middle of the show. I accept it one more time. I think what we need here is more of an incentive on the ground for officers to work with developers and actually show development on the ground, where we actually have these houses being built, we actually see this development coming up. Is there something we can do in that direction?
Absolutely, but that has to be resolved fair, not through a magic wand or magic bricks. It has to be done through dialogue, where you have the people who are investing, the people who have to invest, sit with the deputed officers, and also work within the parameters of law. Where if we need to make modalities and
we don't have a magic wand here, but I will give you this.
And ask
all right,
them to
Shaina, I'm running out of time. I'm going to get
that will happen.
All right, I'm going to get a commitment from the developers on the panel. Will you sit down with Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, all three of you, and along with the developer group that you represent? You'll all represent the groups of developers in Navi Mumbai, which is why you're on this panel. Sit down with Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, find solutions, work together, come up with a solution to solve this problem. Very quick answers. I just want commitments from all of you. Prakash ji? Yes? Mohammed Sheikh?
Yes, we are ready. मेरा विनंती है कि माननीय मुख्यमंत्री और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जैसे गुजरात में एक मॉडल बनाया, नागपुर में जैसे मॉडल बनाया, वही मॉडल के तौर पे हमें ये नया स्क्रैप करो और जो डेवलपमेंट के लिए जो प्लान बनेगा वो हमको चाहिए.
Conversations will be started off. Ajay, Ashok, very quickly.
We have talked to the new MD, Mr. Bhushan Gagrani ji, and we are with him, and we'll surely sort it down. We know he is a dynamic
so you will, all right. So you will work with him. Ajay Midha, we will put you in touch with the state government. Shaina NC has said that the Chief Minister himself will look at this particular case. Are you willing to also have a conversation with Mr. Bhushan Gagrani on what needs to be done to fix the problems in CIDCO? Very quickly.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, okay, Shaina NC, no magic wand, but on Magicbricks, I've given you that conversation and the dialogue that you asked for. We will keep an eye on it here, personally as well, to make sure that these conversations do happen. We're in constant touch with CIDCO. We will stay in touch with the Chief Minister's office. We've run out of time. But this is the platform for home buyers, for developers, for the government to come together, because when these three parties come together, we'll have homes that we can afford in all of our cities. And that is finally our end game, that each of us should be able to buy a home. Each of us should be able to live in a home. Contact details are on your screen. Thank you for watching Magicbricks Now. You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MagicBricksNow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at MagicBricksNow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/MagicBricksNow.